viewers. Ah, ah, where did all the viewers go? Oh, 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 ah, 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 ah. It's fine. Everyone came back. The view count updated. Everyone's back now. Everyone's back now. It's fun. It's okay. It's fine. It's literally fun. It's literally fun. It's like literally okay.
Jack is crying again. Help.
It's fine. I wasn't crying. I wasn't crying. You didn't see that. The view count's updated again. It's fine. It's fine. It's fine. It's fine. Bro gained more viewers. Bro did gain more viewers. What the fuck? How did bro gain viewers? Bro, I'm gonna start just randomly stopping the stream more. What? It's like 1,000 more people. Welcome. I had to restart the... If you're just joining us, this was supposed to be the back end of a previous stream that you obviously missed. I just restarted the stream because we were getting a little bit of lag in Portal RTX because I had my settings set up a little bit wrong. But I guess, well, since you're all here, you're probably all here to watch Portal with RTX. Portal's one of my favorite games ever. Still a little bit laggy. I'm going to turn this off. That'll hopefully help. But this is a little bit better. This is tolerable. The frame rate's not going to be perfect. It is a very strenuous game to run. It does use a lot of RTX, I'll tell you that much. But it's a little bit better. Oh, my bad. I broke a cup. Hey, there's a QR code on the bottom of this. I spotted this earlier when I was testing it. I don't know what it does, though. If anyone wants to check the QR code on the bottom, feel free. Actually, why don't I just check it? Where's my phone? Your specimen has been processed, and we are now ready to begin the test proper. Before we start, however, keep in mind that although fun and learning it just Googles Black Mesa. Enrichment Center activities, serious injuries may occur. Oh, I heard there was like cheat codes. I heard there was like cheat codes or some shit, right? For own safety and the safety of others, please refrain from. Stand back. Hello. The portal will open in 3, 2. Second that timer ends, we start the timer. All right, let's go. It didn't start the timer. It still hasn't started the timer. Fuck's sake. Okay. Shit. Well, we kind of fucked up with the. We already fucked up with the speed run. How? Why? Hello? Live split? What fucking happened, bro? Live split. Do you care to explain to me what the fuck happened? Because, you know, last I checked, did it crash or some shit? Let me... For fuck's sake. Okay, well... Now I've got to start the run again. Now we've got to start again with the run. How do I... Portal. Sorry, this is a bit annoying, I'll be honest. I'm a little bit pissed off about that. Let me just make sure absolutely this is working now. Okay, global hotkeys. Cool. All right. I guess we'll start another new game. Because my fucking timer doesn't want to work. It's fine. So we'll just jump around. Look at this clipboard. What does it say? Portal tested sequence identity card. Drop box. Get hit on the head by a box. Have a donut thrown at you. And again, welcome to the Eat a donut, I think. We hope your brief detention in the have worms attack you while swimming. Your specimen has been quiet down a bit, GLaDOS. Fly like Superman. Get shot by a horse creature. God, pee and cake. At least I recognize cake. Cake's pretty easy. Oh look, they put a graphics card in here. That's actually how it looks. That's exactly how this thing looks. Look how fucking big it is. 2, 1. Start the timer a bit early, but fuck it. Whatever. I ain't gonna need all the time.
Excellent. Please proceed into the chamber lock.
Speedrunning, baby!
Each test. First,
We're really
however,
quick.
Note the incandescent particle field across the exit.
Also,
This
look at the
Aperture
lift now. Look
Science
how
material
swaggy it looks.
Emancipation grill will vaporize any unauthorized equipment that passes through it. For instance,
Also, no
the
loading
Aperture
screens, baby.
Science weighted
Also, look how
storage
good
cube.
like the lighting is. Sorry, just like look at the
Please
look at the
place
button.
weighted storage cube on the 1500 megawatt
Look how good
Aperture
RTX
Science
actually looks, though.
heavy-duty supercolliding super
Like,
button.
all they said is I had to play Portal. They didn't even give me like talking points about RTX to like fucking. This is kind of sponsored, but not. They didn't pay me. They just gave me the card. Look how good it looks. Look at the glowing.
Please move quickly to the chamber lock, as the effects of prolonged exposure to the button are not part of this test.
Cool. Alright, we got it. We got it. We got it. We got it. Are there captions? Maybe. Hold on. Let me pause the timer. Okay. Hold on. Audio. Video. If I can find subtitles, I'll do it. But I don't know that there is any. No. There are in Portal 2, but I want to say there isn't in Portal 1. Advanced, maybe? No. Oh no, captioning. I'm dumb. Subtitles. Oh, yeah.
You're doing very well. Please be advised that a noticeable taste of blood is not part of any test protocol. but
No!
is an unintended side effect of the Aperture Science material emancipation grill, which may, in semi-rare
Yo, the
cases,
grills make me bleed too. When they fit in my grills, I bleeded.
and teeth.
That actually wouldn't be good. Portal. Ah! Portal gone.
Very good. You are now in possession of the Aperture Science handheld portal device. With
You
it,
are doing
can
very
create
well.
your own portals.
I am.
These interdimensional gates have proven to be completely safe.
This game is very
The
short, by
device,
the way.
however, has not. Do not touch the operational end of the device. Do
The
not
graphics
look
actually look
directly
sick.
at
They
the
really do for
operational
such an
end
old
of the
game.
device. Do not submerge the device in liquid, even partially. Most
Oh, I'm getting rid of all the
important,
cameras too.
under
That's
no
part of my
circum-
run.
Well done. Remember, the Aperture Science Bring Your Daughter to Work Day is the perfect time to have her tested.
I hate the voice. It's better in the second game. The voice is slightly different in the second game. I think she's a little bit annoying. She's very GLaDOS at this point and not very Carolyn, and you know that'll make sense to people who play the game.
Welcome to Test Chamber.
I break all the cameras, by the way. You get an achievement for it.
To ensure the safe performance of all authorized
Fuck off.
activities,
Give me the
do not
box.
destroy vital testing apparatus. Once again, excellent work. As part of our required test protocol, we will not monitor the next test chamber. You will be entirely on your own. Good luck.
No, but I need your help. Yeah, no, I really will show off the goodness of how this game looks in a bit. So it does look, like the lighting's stunning. Look at the buttons. Look at like
For
the
your
fucking
own
transparency
safety,
thing.
Do
It
not
looks so
destroy
sick.
vital testing apparatus.
Okay. Shit. Okay, that wasn't very good, but that's fine. Oh, why did I step down? That was silly dumb.
Certain objects may be vital to your success. Do not destroy testing apparatus. As part of a required test protocol, our previous statement suggesting that we would not monitor this chamber was an outright fabrication.
But yeah, this game was
Good
released in
job.
2010,
As part of
but recently Nvidia modded it to show off their RTX technology to show how good it is with the 40 series cards. So that's why it looks so damn good and the lighting's so volumetric. They've updated some of the textures as well. This lift used to look fucking horrible. But like generally the textures are pretty untouched. It's mostly lighting work that they've done, which is why like look at this. Look how this like interacts with the room. It looks so sick.
While safety is one of many Enrichment Center goals, the Aperture Science
And look how good that lights up.
You
Subject name here.
must be the pride of.
Subject hometown here.
But like, you know, it looks so damn good. Like they've really like, this is a mod. It isn't like a new game. It's not really a remaster. It's a couple of new textures. Like obviously the buttons are completely retextured because they've got like the glass texture on them to show how like the volumetric lighting works with glass. But yeah.
Warning devices are required on all mobile equipment. However, alarms and flashing hazard lights have been found to agitate. Good. Now use the Aperture Science unstationary scaffold to reach the chamber lock.
There we are. That was quick. There's only 18 levels before you get towards the end, so we should be able to get this done pretty good. We've only been playing for 5 minutes. 5 minutes?! 5 minutes?! How many versions are there? Only 2 official ones, and then there's Portal Stories Mel, which is a mod, and a gel one as well.
Any contact with the chamber floor will result in an unsatisfactory mark on your official testing record, followed by death. Good luck.
I always forget how to place that one. Cool. The evil water is bad, and it is evil and goo.
Very impressive.
It runs at a better frame rate, by the way. This PC is sadly a little bit on its way out. I'm getting a new PC soon. But the graphics card is enough to run this, but it's not. The CPU is kind of dying streaming it is the problem. So that's why this frame rate isn't perfect. So I do apologize for that, but it isn't awful. It's just a little bit slower than it should be.
The Enrichment Center regrets to inform you that this next test is impossible.
Oh, really?
Make no attempt to solve it.
Is that so?
Fantastic. You remain resolute and resourceful in an atmosphere of extreme pessimism.
That was so pessimistic, GLaDOS, and I still did it because I'm so cool. Oh yeah, Portal Reloaded, the mod with time travel, also has RTX mode in it. I haven't played that yet, but I really want to give it a go. The noise the Portal gun thing makes is very nice. I'm shocked so many of you haven't clearly played Portal before.
Hello again. To reiterate, previous one. Momentum. Spectacular. You appear to understand how a portal affects forward momentum, or to be more precise, how it does not.
It doesn't. Oh, yeah, that's
momentum, a function of mass and velocity.
No, you can't shoot moving portals surfaces. Come on.
In layman's terms, speedy thing goes in, speedy thing comes out.
We made it. But yeah, I love this game so much. It's one of my favorite games ever. Mainly, honestly, for the second one, the storytelling and the characters in the second one are so fun. This one's very basic. It builds up the foundations of the world and stuff, and it you know, and that's really cool. But it doesn't really, you know.
The Enrichment Center promises to always provide a safe testing environment. In dangerous testing environments, the Enrichment Center promises to always provide useful advice. For instance, the floor here will kill you. Try to avoid it.
Okay, I've already done that. Need a portal over here, please. Okay, but yeah, the way this thing lights up a room is really sick. Into the right space. I want that to bounce around a little bit more. Shit, I kind of slow myself down doing that. Shit. Come on, and one more, please. Come on. Come on. Cool. Okay, no, I can't really. Shit. Can't just go and wait for it to spin round. Damn, Valve always releasing bangers. Yeah, pretty much with this. Oh, come on, please. Please shoot that next platform, because I need to get on it before it starts moving. Come on, because it's going to start to move. You fucking slow little portal gun. Oh, thank God. Okay.
The device has been modified so that it can now manufacture 2 linked portals at once. Okay. As part of an optional test protocol, we are pleased to present Anno.
That was close.
The device is now more valuable than the organs and combined incomes of everyone.
That was hard. The organs comment's a bit weird, but whatever. The noise has scratched my brain. Yeah, it's got really good sound design. So does Half-Life, but Half-Life is just creepy. It gets a lot more fun when I can control... It gets a lot more fun now I can control this. Cool. Come on. Move. Oh, come on. Oh. There you are. Cool. Now, if I can land this throw, I'm going to make my life a lot easier. I cannot. That's fine. The buttons look so cool now. That's one thing I will say. Boom! Cool. Alright, 10 minutes in. We were on, like, stage what? Did Jet just forget he's doing cameras? Oh, shit, I did. My bad. Whatever. Alright. We'll leave the cameras. I forgot about the cameras. Unless I see a camera right now. They have, like, QR codes on them. Scan. Chat, scan that. Take a screenshot and scan it.
Long time. If you become lightheaded from thirst, feel free to pass out. An incubation associate will be dispatched to revive you with peptic salve and adrenaline.
Cool.
Vital testing apparatus destroyed.
Cool, and then... Cool. And then, where is it?
As part of a previously mentioned required test protocol, we can no longer lie to you. When the testing is over, you will be missed.
I do remember a lot of these. I do remember... I don't remember them, like, how to solve them exactly, but I remember the rough idea of them. But also, the puzzles aren't too hard once you're done on my cut. Like, it's kind of like muscle memory kicks in. I don't know, because I'm not, like, actively really thinking about them.
Intending to handle high-energy gamma leaking portal technology must be informed that they may be informed of applicable regulatory compliance issues. No further compliance information is required or will be provided, and you are an excellent test subject.
Thank you. I know I'm an excellent test subject because I'm doing the test so damn quick. Probably quicker than anyone's ever done them before. Apparently, most people die. That button looks really cool. These also look really cool. This game just looks really cool now. These black rooms used to look really murky, and now they actually look kind of sick with the lighting. Fucking hell. Right, I want to shoot the orange portal there. And then we just wait. This might take a little bit longer than I want it to, but watch as it comes through. Look at the lighting. Look how cool that looks.
Very good. A complimentary victory lift has been activated in the main chamber.
Cool. Look at just like the lighting as it it gets light and then it goes through the portal and then all the light fills out into the room. That's the RTX shit for you, bro. That looks so cool. I used to be an IT guy and I love Portal, so looking at cool computer technology while also playing this game is like this is a big Chat Manifold stream, you know what I mean?
Well-being of all participants. Take and brief counseling will be available at the conclusion of the test. Thank you for helping us help you help us all.
Hopefully that will. There we go. That was pretty good. Yeah. See what that QR code says. Sorry, I didn't check. I think I'm assuming all they all say the same thing. I'm going to assume. Okay, and then. Whoop.
Vital testing apparatus destroyed.
Cool. And cool. Cool. And then that's pretty cool. 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 And cool. Ooh, almost failed. That was good. Okay, and now... Whoop, whoop. Go in here. Shoot a portal there. Shoot a portal there. Press button. Press button. Did it.
You can donate one or all of your vital organs.
That was the fastest I've ever done that.
Self-esteem fund for girls. It's true.
Self-esteem fund for girls. I'd love to give my kidneys so girls feel better about theirs. I don't know how it works, but you know. How much have you played this? I played this game a lot. Okay.
Due to mandatory scheduled maintenance, the appropriate chamber for this testing sequence is currently unavailable. It has been replaced with a live fire course designed for military androids. The Enrichment Center apologizes for the inconvenience and wishes you the best of luck.
Well,
Vital testing apparatus destroyed.
sorry!
I don't hate you. Vital testing apparatus destroyed.
Fuck out of here, bro! Yeah, keep shooting, see if I care. Oh, well, you weren't supposed to stay upright. If you could just fall over, please. There you are. Thank you, man. Okay, hey, the Ratman room. This is where the Ratman's from. Hey, guys. The cake is alive! The cake is alive! The cake is alive! Meme, meme, meme! Also, there's a QR code in here. When I was testing it, I did find it. There's a QR code in this computer here. What does it say? Let me know. The cake's alive! Meme 2010! I love 2010! Okay. Yeah, shoot me all you want, bro. Okay, that didn't really end too well. Okay. Ah, man! Calm it, bro! Damn you! Fucking hell. Ooh, radio. Sick. Can I kill him with a radio? Ow! Kill him with the radio? Yes! Sick. Yeah! Oh, well. Shit. No. Yeah! Oh, shit. I need a box. Shit. I forgot to grab a box. Fuck. Fuck. That's slowing us down quite a lot. Need to weigh that down. Need to weigh that down.
Searching. Who are you? Are you still? Hello. Well done, Android. The Enrichment Center once again.
Just use a turret. I forget if they weigh down buttons or not.
Is a real place where you will be sent at the first sign of defiance.
They're all programmed to think Android hell is real, and I think that's really funny. All the robots think Android hell is real, and that they'll go there if they disobey. I think that's really funny. Yes! Give me that fucking thing now!
In 3, 2,
the glass looks cool. Companion cube!
Weighted companion cube will accompany you through the test chamber. Please take care of it.
I will take such good care of this thing. Like, you will block projectiles for me.
The symptoms most commonly produced by Enrichment Center testing are superstition, perceiving an animal
Shit! I made all the bouncy projectiles fly everywhere.
The Enrichment Center reminds you
Shit!
that the weighted
Shit!
companion cube will never threaten to stab you and, in fact, cannot speak.
Go back. Fucking hell, that was scary. The plasma balls kill you, by the way. It has a little heart on it. Oh yeah, he's like a little child for us. He's cute. There we go, and then... Oh yeah, I forgot how this works. Let's get rid of that.
Vital testing apparatus destroyed.
Come on. Come on. That work? Yeah, it worked. Okay, cool. Now I need to go get another one of the energy balls. Give us a second. Oh dear, I made a mistake. I made a big mistake. Oh, okay. Okay, and then I put you on this button here. And then I put me on this button here.
The Enrichment Center
Nice.
reminds you that the
Are we calling him Gary? Are we calling the companion cube Gary?
In
That's
the
cute.
event that the weighted companion cube does speak, the Enrichment Center urges you to disregard its advice.
There we go. There's no portals in there. You just have to use the cube to bounce the little sphere in there. And I think that's a really cool little thing. Either way. Let's go, Gary. Shit. My bad, Gary. Gary! Oh, I grabbed him. Thank fuck. Oh, these are the dono, man. What's it say? Cheers, man. I bought Portal 1 and 2 because of the stream since I lost my old Steam account. Oh, you definitely should. Also, Portal 2 specifically still gets community-made maps added all the fucking time.
You did it. The weighted companion cube.
Thank you,
certainly
Gary.
brought you good luck. However, it cannot accompany you for the rest of the test. and
No!
unfortunately,
The
must be
twist!
euthanized.
The twist! Yeah,
Please
you
escort
have to
your
burn
companion
it.
cube to the Aperture Science
If I wasn't
Emergency
speedrunning, I'd take a bit of time, but sadly...
You euthanized your faithful companion cube more quickly than any test subject on record. Congratulations.
Yeah, you don't really get a choice. You gotta burn it. My bad, guys. It literally is the only way. It makes you burn it. That was a big meme back in 2010. That and the cake is a lie. Everyone loved the companion cube. It was like it was like
is nearing its conclusion. The Enrichment Center is required to remind you that you will be baked, and then there will be cake.
What? I will be baked. I ain't never smoked no weed. That ain't gonna happen. There's another secret room in here, by the way. We missed one of... Oh, we missed the Ratman's secret room in the companion cube level. It just is... He like fell in love with the cube, essentially. That's all you really gotta know. The Ratman, the guy who wrote The Cake is a Lie and stuff, he falls in love with the cube. So you really gotta know about that little fella. That quirky little fella. Oh, I need a box. I don't have a box. Oh, yeah, this little room. I forgot about this little room. This is how I get a box. Okay. This room's going to take me a little bit longer because I haven't played this in a while. Okay. Okay, what I want to do is kill the turrets with these. Okay, I was going to say like so. Yep, like so. Shit, I fucked that up a little bit. Oh shit, okay, it's always going to shoot. Cool. So I want to destroy these guys real quick so they don't kill me. Shit, I fucked that up. It's fine. Boom! Alright, cool. They're all dead now. I forget what's down here exactly, but I'll figure it out in a second. That is... Remember, I pressed that, and then you shoot a thing, and then... Oh yeah, I have to do that. Like that! There we go. Oh, I wasn't near the platform in time. Fuck. Fuck. Shit. No. Shit. Okay. Oh, this is gonna slow me down if I don't make this. Cool. Cool, 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 cool. Cool. Button. What did that unlock? Cool. And now I just gotta get back across. Cool. And then I just remembered I have to drop down here. Nice. I put that on there. And then as simple as that. You see? Look how good that was. Oh, there's more. Shit, I forgot there was more to this one.
Vital testing apparatus destroyed.
This one's fun. I like this one. Up, and then that was the wrong one.
Well done. Be
Thank you.
advised that the next test requires exposure to uninsulated electrical parts.
I love it,
that
like
may
all the
be
motion and
dangerous
stuff.
under
It's so
certain
cool.
conditions.
Never forget
For
Gary.
more
Oh no, rest in peace to
information,
Bro and all
please
that.
attend an Enrichment Center electrical safety seminar.
I was pretty quick for that level. That level was horrible with the controller. Yeah, I remember. I played it on the orange box on the Xbox for the first time. It's much easier on a mouse and keyboard. Sucks on anything else. This is the last level.
Test. When you are done, you will drop the device in the Equipment Recovery Annex. Enrichment Center regulations require both hands to be empty before any cake.
Where's the platform? Oh, it's just a lot slower than me.
Vital testing apparatus destroyed.
What's coming around the corner? Nothing that I can see. Where do I go? Okay, I have forgotten how to do this part. I will not lie to thee. Like that. Guys, cake time! Cake time!
Congratulations. The test is now over. All aperture
No!
technologies remain
Guys!
safely operational up to
They're killing me!
4,000 degrees Kelvin. Rest assured that there is absolutely no chance of a dangerous equipment
I could have done this
malfunction
quicker.
prior to your victory
I kind of didn't do this
contest.
as fast as you can do it. I'm a bit pissed off at myself.
Thank you for participating in this Aperture Science computer-aided enrichment activity. Goodbye.
The cake was a lie, guys. The guys, the meme. It was low-key right. Guys,
What are you doing? Stop it. You're pleased that you made it through the final challenge where we pretended we were going to murder you. We are very, very happy for your success. We are throwing a party in honor of your tremendous success. Place the device on the ground, then lie on your stomach with your arms at your sides. A party associate. Hello. Where are you? I know your name.
forget how to do this part. Let's see if I remember this. The exit is on that bridge, so I need to go across this bridge somehow. The way to do so is not something I remember. Okay, let's think about this. Can I go through this room? No. Alright, let's think about this. This is the one part that's going to screw me up because I genuinely don't remember how to do it. Is it just like this? Do I just like kind of like jump at it? I think I do. Yes, okay, you do. Thank fuck, because that really made me think that you didn't. That was close. That was really close. I'm not gonna lie to you. That was too close for comfort. Oh, you can't see in. That's annoying. This is like a chamber you were part of. It shows that people were watching you the whole time, but the RTX mod means the glass is hard to see through. That's a little bit frustrating. But yeah, that's all that means. It's a little bit frustrating. Wait, what? So you could go through the whole time? Wait. Shit. Am I dumb? What? Why did it do that? What the fuck happened? That was a bug. That was weird. Okay. That was scary. Oh, I remember. Okay, that went a little bit wrong. Let me try that again. Oh, my bad. My bad, y'all. There we go.
What are you doing? You haven't escaped, you know.
I basically have. Into the pipe. Oh, this looks cool.
Is anyone there?
This looks different to how it looked in the original game. Like a lot different.
Okay, the test is over now. You win. Go back to the recovery annex for your cake. It was a fun test, and we're all impressed at how much you won. The test is over. Come back.
That was it. I knew you had to do something along those lines.
Somebody cut the cake. I told them to wait for you, but they didn't get it. Still sounds like
Okay. I forget how you do this part. No I don't. No I do. I do remember actually. I remember now. Like that. And then we can go back and portal surface, please. Portal surface. Okay, where am I? Oh, okay. Wait, hold on. There we go. That took a second. That almost took a second.
you're not even going the right way.
I definitely am, because you wouldn't be saying that unless if I wasn't.
I don't think you're going where you think you're going.
Okay, so that will push me through a portal.
You 3 months. What's up, Jack? Happy New Year. I hope you have a lovely 2023.
Happy New Year to you as well. I forgot what you're supposed to do in here. Okay. Is that it? Is that it? No, I think you just jump, actually. That was a little bit too good of a jump. Cool. Yeah, that's it. I don't think you necessarily have to do anything with portals there. Unless you do, and I'm stupid. Okay, never mind. You definitely do. Okay, yeah, I'm definitely stupid. I don't remember, though. I don't remember what you're supposed to do here. What? How the fuck did I... Oh, this is glitch. This is bad. This is bad. I know it's bad because the water's supposed to kill you, and look where I am. Yeah, I fell out of bounds. Okay, thank fuck.
You're not even going the right
Oh, that's it. Yeah, I remember what you're supposed to do now. I'm a fucking moron. Shit, wait. Am I? How do I get up there again? No, never mind. Wait, shit. Oh, shit. I've forgotten this part.
Does this mean I'm bald
20 months. I appreciate it. Did I get that? Oh, I did. I landed it. Okay. I don't know if that was the way you're supposed to do it or not, but I did it that way. I did it my way.
now? Sorry about that, kid.
When the platform was sliding into the fire pit and I said goodbye, and you were like,
Hey, I had a nightmare where you jump scared me and I accidentally punched you. Sorry about that, King. It's alright. I probably deserved it. Okay, that wasn't too good. That wasn't...
we have some fun. Remember when the platform was sliding into the fire pit and I said goodbye, and you were like, no way. And then I was all, we pretended we were going to murder you. That was great.
Cool.
You really shouldn't be here. This isn't safe for you.
Fuck! You dick!
It's not too late for you to turn back. I'm not angry. Is anyone there?
This isn't going great. My speedruns have been better, guys.
You really shouldn't be here. This isn't safe for you. It's not too late for you to turn back. I'm not angry. Just go back to the testing area.
Don't know where I'm supposed to go right now. I forgot. I've got a little bit over here. Cool. Cool. We made it. We made it, we made it, we made it. Okay. Down here. I remember now. I'm remembering.
You should have turned left before. It's funny, actually, when you think about it. Someday we'll remember this and laugh, and laugh, and laugh.
Cool. I don't think we'll laugh. I don't think I'm gonna laugh. I fell in a hole. I remembered how to do it. What's in here? Help. Ratman room. Access denied. That looks kind of cool. There's a little bit of lighting on that. That's really sick. Oh, okay. Never mind. Oh, I'm trapped. Why am I trapped?
Who's there?
No, come on. I bashed him with a barrel. Alright, these guys aren't as tough as I really thought they were. Oh, come on now. Those guys weren't too tough, actually. I really thought they'd be tougher than that. I'm gonna be honest with you. Doesn't this one have like a... That was it.
You're not a good person. You know that, right?
I'm a very good person.
Good people don't end up here.
Good people
Can
are...
you hear me?
What was that, like a FNAF noise? FNAF sound effect.
Deploying.
Oh, wait, can you shoot? I figured...
Coming. Oh.
Oh, wait. Oh, this is the room I came from. Shit. I didn't notice. Wait, did I turn it up in, like, the wrong room to begin with or some shit? Because I don't... That was weird. Wait, what? Sorry, now I'm confused. Oh, here. Didn't spot that.
Please put me down. Searching.
Yeah, you're dead. You're dead.
I don't hate you.
Over here. Okay. Cool. I'm here. And now I'm in this room.
This is your fault. It didn't have to be like this.
Well, it clearly
I'm just
did.
kidding now. Turn back or I will kill you.
Hello?
I'm going to kill you.
Ah!
And all the cake is gone.
Ah!
You don't even care, do you? This is your last chance.
Ah. I remember what you have to do here. Hello, good sir. Oh, I missed a bit. I missed a little bit. There we are. Lovely. Thank you, lads. What port was that? Orange. Okay, and then... Hiya. Whee! Let's go! Oh, shit. Okay, no, never mind. Oh, well, no. I really want that. No. Oh, shit. So I thought I went up the pipe. My bad. Let's go! Ah. I like this part of the game because it's more unconventional. Chris Pratt. Oh. If only I... No, wait, you know, Chris Pratt's kind of evil. We were on about this earlier. Never mind. Not if only. I mean, he looks kind of good. I mean, you can't take that away from him, even if he is evil. 20 minutes! I got 20 minutes to beat the game. I think I can do it. Hey, you can't jump here. I forgot about that. Oh, shit! You don't really have to kill them all. I just kind of panicked. I'll be honest. Cool. Oh dear. Ah. Cool. And then... Oh, that's cool. A bit of light comes through the portal there. That actually looks sick. And then... Cool. Why does this bridge feel like it's gonna break? Oh, never mind. Wait, is this it? Oh, yeah. I feel like this is it. I think this is the boss fight, right? Ooh, competing with Black Mesa. That's some lore dump. Is this it? Isn't this where I came from? Right. Is this where I came from? This is where I came from. Okay, that wasted a little bit of time in the speedrun, I'm not gonna lie. But that's okay. Open. I swear this is the end. It is! This is it! Time to face off against GLaDOS. I wonder if they changed the way her model looks, because it looks different in Portal 2. Oh no, it's the same, I think. This is the original.
You found me. Congratulations. Was it worth it? Because despite your violent behavior, the only thing you've managed to break so far is my heart.
This is the end.
Maybe you could settle for that, and we'll just call it a day. I guess.
I think
we
I
both
might do
know
it in less than an
that
hour.
isn't going to happen. You chose this path. Now I have a surprise for you. Deploying surprise in 5, 4. Time out for a second. That wasn't supposed to happen.
Hello.
Do you see that thing that fell out of me? What is that? It's not the surprise. I've never seen it before. Never mind. It's a mystery I'll solve later. By myself. Because you'll be dead. Where are you taking that thing? I wouldn't bother with that thing. My guess is that touching it will just make your life even.
Oh, how did that make you feel?
Kidding me. Did you just set that aperture science thing, we don't know what it does, into an aperture science emergency intelligence incinerator? That has got to be the dumbest thing that. Whoa.
There it is.
Good news. I figured out what that thing you just incinerated did. It was a morality.
Her voice gets much more tolerable by this point and into the second game.
With a deadly neurotoxin to make me stop flooding the enrichment center with a deadly neurotoxin. So get comfortable while I warm up the neurotoxin emitters. Oh, that core may have had some ancillary responsibilities. I can't shut off the turret defenses. Oh well. If you want my advice, you should just lie down in front of a rocket. Trust me.
It wasn't supposed to lock onto me that way.
Neurotoxin. All right. Keep doing whatever it
Take
is
that,
you're
bitch!
doing. Oh, truly exclusive. The rocket really is the way to go.
Oh, the neurotoxin looks sick. That's a new thing. They changed the way that looks.
It's the fluid catalytic cracking unit. It makes use for orphans. Nice job breaking it, hero.
Do you smell something burning?
You think you're doing some damage?
2 plus 2 is...
In base 4, I'm fine. I let you survive this long because I was
What?
curious.
Does this one go up here? I think it goes up here.
To destroy that part of me.
Yep.
Unfortunately, as much as I'd love to now, I can't get the neurotoxin into your head any faster. I'd just like to point out that you were given every opportunity to succeed. There was even going to be a party.
Oh, you fell through. Fucking hell. That actually did me a favor, but I didn't realize it, so I panicked.
Of course, he couldn't come because you murdered him. All your neurotoxin. So deadly. Joking.
Kidding.
When I said deadly,
Hey, there it is. Where does that go?
massive sarcasm quote. I could take a bath in this stuff, put it on cereal, rub it right into my eyes. Honestly, it's not deadly at all. You, on the
What?
other hand, are going to find its deadliness a lot less funny. Who's gonna make the cake when I'm gone? You.
All right, bye-bye, baby. We're about to finish the game. 3, 2...
You don't have a whole. That's a break.
And that is Portal finished.
Well then...
We did it in less than an hour.
I have your brain scanned and permanently packed up in case something terrible happens to you.
I fucking knew it. When I took this sponsorship and they said you had to play the game for There's probably my best shot. This is gonna be a little difficult jump. This is gonna be a little bit difficult. Can't see a better way of doing it though. Ah! Shit! Okay, well... Shit! Okay. Alright, okay. Oh, okay. It respawns with checkpoints. That's cool. Fuck! I didn't realize I placed that wrong. This isn't new. It was always in the game without RTX. I never played these, ever! How did I never notice these before? Shit, I fucking love Portal. I'm pissed. I wish I'd played these before.
For your own safety, do not destroy vital testing
Apparatus. Where's the other cube? Because there should be another cube like through there somewhere, right? Oh no, there shouldn't be. I completely understand what's going off now. Okay, well let me think about this. We're not trying to speedrun anymore, so we can kind of just... When I look out there, it makes me glad I'm not you. I have experiments to run. Shit. Is that it? Did I fuck up? I think I fucked up. Yeah, I think I gotta restart that. There's 6 chambers. Okay, is there anything else? What about challenges? Huh, I should have always played these. What about... Okay, develop a car inventory, I'm not bothered about. Apparently, there's, like, cheat codes. I learned. That you can, like, use... But how do you do them? How do you do the cheat codes? Because there's cheat codes that, like, change some of the RTX stuff that I wanted to show off. But I don't really know how. How do you do that? Does anyone know? I played it on the orange box the first time I ever played it, and I've played it since, but I guess I never checked the bonus content. That's cool, though. As it burned, it hurt because I was so happy for you. Now these points of data make a beautiful line. We're out of beta, we're releasing on time. But I'm glad I got burned.
To ensure the safe performance of all
Shit.
authorized
I did that
activities,
too early.
do not destroy vital testing apparatus.
Cool. Oh, can I jump over to that? But I can. That's how you do it. Whoa! Fuck! Shit! Alright, at least I know how to do it now. Shit. Oh, that was almost close. Oh. Cool. Cool.
For your own
Yes!
safety, do not destroy vital
Yes!
testing apparatus.
Stinky air water! Someone was right. Someone said that in chat and they're very right. I fucking had a feeling I could pull that off. Well done, me. I want to do the other levels now. I can do the advanced levels, absolutely. Fuck it. I'm only. They only asked me to do an hour, but I could definitely do this. I'm damn. Ooh. Ooh. No, it's not. It's not much harder. I think I get it. can get this. I can get this. Oh, apparently not. So I want to be looking like... Okay. Sideways. Oh, being upside down makes it so fucking difficult to see what you're doing. Okay, cool. Look, if that's the only change, that ain't too bad. I think this one honestly might be... I might have to solve this no differently to how I usually solve it beyond that. Because I think they're just going to get rid of the platforms across this little lake here, and that's not really a big deal. Yeah, they did. It doesn't change all that much when you think about it. Like, when you honestly think about it, it ain't that bad. Yeah, it's the exact same way I'd usually solve it, just the box is different. If I actually solved that quicker. That wasn't too bad. That's pretty good. I did pretty well there. I had no idea like they did bonus levels. This is sick. Okay. Oh, this one could be a hard one. Oh, this is cool. Okay. Oh, that's gonna be hard. That can be really hard, actually. Wait, how do I... Oh, no, it isn't. Oh, shit. Okay, that is kind of hard, but if you're quick with it, you'll be okay. Yeah, like that. It's just quick on the keyboard and mouse.
To ensure the safe performance of all authorized activities, do not destroy vital testing apparatus.
Oh, this is a bit harder. Not too bad, but it's a little bit harder. Shit. Shit. Okay, you gotta be a bit quicker with this one. Again, not awful, but a little bit harder. A little bit harder. This, however, looks like it could be a lot harder. Ooh! Oh, how do you solve this one?
For your own safety, do not destroy vital testing apparatus.
Ooh! That's all I can think of. Do I just have to jump the gap like that? That's the only thing I can think of. That's tough. But I think I do. I think I just have to... Shit.
Anyways, have fun with Portal.
I think all I can do is just this. I think I just have to... Yeah, I think I just have to hop the fence. That's really hard, though. Jesus. Shit. Okay, that might help. This is gonna be really hard. Yeah, thank you for the 2 years. Appreciate it. Thank you so much. Okay. Okay. This could be really hard, I think. This is the only thing I can possibly think of. That doesn't seem... There's no other way, right? The cube? Is there a cube? Everyone said the cube. I don't think there is a cube. Oh, can you fall from the ceiling? Yes, you can. Yes, you can. That's what you're supposed to do. You're right. You're right. Someone's worked it out. Chatters, you are cleverer than I. Yeah, I want to like have a portal like here that I use. Oh, no. Yes. Like that. Fucking hell, that's hard. Okay, and then that will bounce to there, and then you put that there. No, alright. Not the way. What does this do? Just curious. Oh. Holy shit! This is a fucking atrocious puzzle. And that does that, and then that comes back and hits there, and then somehow I've got to make that. That's fucking horrible. Wait, hold on. Okay. So, fine, you put that there, and that goes there, and then that flies and hits that, and then that bounces off of that. Over back to here. That hits that there. Shit, man. Like that, maybe? No. No, because that needs to hit somehow and do it on a straight line. And hit that. Oh, and then there. I got it, 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 I got it. I got it, I got it, I got it, I got it. I got it. Alright, you ready? Shoot. Why is it not shooting? Why is it really laggy and it's not shooting? Shoot the thing. Wait, it activated. Wait, I accidentally did it. I don't think that was supposed to happen, but it worked. So I guess it worked. Yeah, I just accidentally did it. I got it by mistake. I didn't even fucking realize. Whatever. We'll take it. Hey. A win is a win. A win is a win. I died, though. Hopefully that'll help with the lag, though, because it's lagging really fucking bad. My god, this is fast. You know what, let's do this. Cool. Oh. Wasn't that a little mystery, hmm? Oh, I get it now. I know what I'm supposed to do. Shit! Shit! I did it wrong. I did it wrong. I did it wrong. You gotta stop. Why is this one just refusing to die? Come on now. Oh shit. shoot the fucking thing! I knew that was gonna fucking happen. I figured out the puzzle, and I hate when this happens. I hate when this happens, right? I hate when I work out the puzzle, and yet the game doesn't recognize that I, like... The game hindered me. There we go. What? Seriously? Are you seriously right now? There we go. I got it. Cool. Cool. I seriously did it, guys, please. I seriously did it. Let's go. All right. Three more. I want to do these now. I've decided. I'm doing more than my allot. Oh. Oh.
Activated. Searching.
Oh. All right. This is weird.
Resting. Sentry. Is anyone there? Deploying. Searching. Deploying.
Actually, you know what? This isn't that bad.
Are you still there?
Oh dear, it's as bad as... Oh, it's worse than I thought. It's worse than I thought. It's pretty bad. It's pretty bad. Oh, I just used the cube to block the bullets.
Are you still there? Activate.
Jesus Christ. I got pretty shot bad. I got shot pretty bad. Shit. Ah, shit. Shit. You fucking mind, bro? Because for serious, you're pissing me off.
Searching. Are you still there? There you are.
Ah, fuck it out!
Searching. Target locked.
Oh, fuck you.
Hello. Searching.
It didn't work. It doesn't work. It doesn't work. It doesn't work. It doesn't work.
Target locked.
That works, however. You fucking leave me alone, bro? Seriously, for real.
Searching. No friend. Searching. Who's there? Goodbye. Is anyone there? No. Searching.
Fucking bro, chill out, please.
Searching. Hello. Are you still
Alright,
there?
not the way to go, not the way to go, not the way to go. Yeah, we're literally I think cube building. This is the way forwards. Bro, come on, Fate.
Searching. Target lost. I see.
Bro, if you keep...
Who's there? Searching.
Okay, let's think about this. You in that box? Okay. Fuck! Fuck! I need another box. Shit! Fuck! Fuck, man! I need more boxes! Come on now, we can do this. Be for real, man. Be fucking for real. Okay. 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 Be fucking for real! I reckon I could just B-hop through these. No, fuck! 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 It's fucking... This level is fucking mad. Fuck off, bro! I was just checking I couldn't, like, grab them through the boxes then. Oh my god, fuck off, bro!
There you are.
You're a silly bellend, do you know that?
Sentry mode activated. Searching. Would you come over and
Oh dear.
activated.
Okay. Fuck off, bro, please, bro, I beg of you, bro. God, this is terrible. I figured it out. Figured it out. I figured it out badly.
Are you still there?
Oh, fuck off. This is pissing me off, I'll be real. Yeah, daft twat. Oi, did a fucking bell-ended army.
It's me. Are you still there?
Let me turn this one. Let me turn him down for a second, because there's a way of doing this, but I haven't figured it out yet. Alright, let me turn that back on. Ah, fuck, 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 fuck. Fuck, 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 fuck. God almighty, I've been riddled with fucking bullets.
Is anyone there? Stop shooting. Who's there? Stop shooting. Are you still there? Target lost. Rescue activated. Searching. Target lost. Hello, please there you are. Would you come over?
I don't know how to do this, to be honest. Fuck off! Fuck off, fuck off, fuck off, fuck off. really thought I had that then. I really thought I had that.
Target lost. Sleep mode activated. Target lost. Target lost. Activated. Good night. Searching. Target lost. Searching.
Ah!
Still there.
Guys, I think I've had enough of Portal. Guys, I think I've had enough Portal. Well, here we are again. It's always such a pleasure. Remember when you tried to kill me twice? Oh, how we laughed and laughed. Except I wasn't laughing. Under the circumstances, I've been shockingly nice. Your freedom, take it. That's what I'm counting on. I used to want you dead, but now I only want you gone. She was a what like you, maybe not quite as heavy. Now little Carolyn is in here too. One day they woke me up so I could live forever. It's such a shame the same will never happen to you. You've got your short, sad life left. That's what I'm counting on. I'll let you get right to it. Now I only want you gone. Why's my desktop like flashing through? That's really weird. And I'm my only friend. Oh, did you think I meant you? That would be funny if it weren't so sad. And I have been replaced. I don't need anyone now. When I delete you, maybe I'll stop feeling so bad. Maybe, I don't remember. Some new disaster. That's what I'm counting on. I'm someone else's problem. Now I only want you gone. Now I only want you gone. Now I only want you gone. There! That's the end of Portal 2. I think I maybe prefer that one, to be honest. I really like the endings. Though, as we end, I'm going to play the Still Alive Swing. Someone made a swing cover and it's really good. Play that as we end. Actually, no, I'm just going to play it, then we'll end. Fuck it. I like this. You're not ready. Tubbo used to play this on stream. That's how I know this. Old Tubbo viewers will know this. This was a triumph. I'm making a note here. Huge success. It's hard to overstate my satisfaction. Aperture Science. We do what we must because we can. For the good of all of us, except the ones who are dead. But there's no sense crying over every mistake. You just keep on trying till you run out of cake. And the science gets done and you make a neat gun for the people who are still alive. I'm not gonna play the whole thing. That's fucking... Listen to that in your free time though. That's a fucking sick song. Either way, guys... No, we're gonna... Guys, I hope you did enjoy this stream. It's been a big blend of a lot of different things, but I did really enjoy it. Anyway, I fucking love Portal, so at the end of the day, I'm going to enjoy it. When's Marble Hornets? It will be soon. However, I couldn't give you an exact date because I probably won't be live tomorrow because I'm going to be part of Bill's 24-hour stream. Don't know how long I'll be on that, but I imagine I won't stream to go on there for a bit of a longer time. So do check out Billzo tomorrow because he's going to be doing a 24-hour stream. It's going to be a load of fun, and I'm probably going to be a big part of it at some point or another. So do keep your eyes open. I will maybe be live on Thursday, but maybe not because I'm doing a thing for Aria, doing a stream for her. But maybe I'll get a chance to stream after her stream. Really depends. But I will be live on Friday, so do watch out for me then. Either way, or I hope to be at least. I'll have to see. Saturday we'll definitely have a stream. I don't know over the next 3 days. I don't know when I'm going to be streaming, but I will try to be live at least one of them. It's just that my schedule's a little bit packed at the moment, so I do apologize. Either way, I do hope you enjoyed the stream. If you did, please feel free to follow. Your name will appear there if you do. Thank you for 100 subs today. I really do appreciate it. You can always follow my socials with the exclamation point socials in the chat. That's Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, and my Discord at discord.gg/JackManifoldTV. They're all JackManifoldTV if you just want to search them up instead. You can watch the newest YouTube video with the exclamation point new vid in the chat. Hopefully, I'm going to try and get out a best of 2022 video very, very soon. I'm going to start work on that tomorrow. So do keep an eye out for that. And, of course, I will see you all very, very soon. This will probably be up on the VODs channel in 2 separate parts. Probably one of me playing Portal and then one of me doing the, the Tinder reviews. So I'll get those both up on the VODs channel as soon as possible, or Geck will. In the meantime, I'm going to find someone to raid, and then we'll call it a day. Let's see who's live. Oh, Quackity's live. We won't raid Quackity, though, because he's got a lot of viewers. Let's raid. Let's raid. Let's raid Connor Eats Pants. He's playing Overwatch 2, and I love Connor Eats Pants. I love Connor Eats Pants so much. Let's raid Connor Eats Pants. Go say hi to Connor. Go show him some love. We do love him. We do love him very much. Go say hi. Go follow him if you haven't already. And I will see you all sometime soon. Sometime very, very soon. Just keep an eye out on the Twitter, Jack Manifold 2 is probably the best place for updates. See you all soon. Take care, everyone. Bye-bye.